Hi there, my name is Liz Wolfe, coming to you from New York City. You can find me online at lizwolfcoaching.com. Thank you for watching today. What I do is I coach startup entrepreneurs who are looking to create sustainable businesses and more established entrepreneurs who are looking to grow their business but feel stuck. And one of the common things that I hear from everyone that I coach, all of my clients, is the experience that they have of being overwhelmed. And to that, first of all, I will say, welcome to being an entrepreneur, because being overwhelmed is a pretty constant state of experience. Now, why am I saying that? Because as an entrepreneur, someone who's looking, maybe you're a solopreneur, maybe you're doing a side hustle, whatever it is that you're doing, there's a way in which it feels like nothing is ever done. I always have more than I could possibly ever do in any given frame of time. And I always have more tasks, more ways I could be growing my business. So what I want to talk about in terms of your overwhelm experience is a few things. First of all, let's identify why you feel overwhelmed. So first of all, I think you may feel overwhelmed because you do what I just said, which is you feel like you have way too many tasks to complete in the time frame that you believe that you have available, right? Nobody wants to work 24 hours a day. One of the reasons why you chose to be an entrepreneur is so you could make your own schedule. And however, that schedule seems to be very full with tasks and obligations. Another reason that you may feel overwhelmed is because you feel like it's too much for you to handle. Like I don't have enough capacity to get it all done. It's beyond my capacity. And that may mean you don't feel like you actually know how to do the tasks. It may mean that there are simply too many to get done, or that there's a very steep learning curve for you in order to get it done. And another reason why you may feel overwhelmed is because you might have procrastinated a little bit leading up to this experience of overwhelm when facing the tasks that perhaps you didn't want to do or seemed too hard to do or just built up over time. You may feel a certain amount of discouragement. And that's really what I want to be talking about today with you, is how can you combat this experience of overwhelm? So one of the things that I want to bring up as a point of discussion around this is the idea of being and feeling productive. So just check in. Is this something that you feel like some days you feel like you were super productive and some days you feel like you weren't actually that productive at all? So one of the distinctions that I want to bring forth, which is the work that we do together, is to make distinctions so that we can reframe what our experiences are so we can be empowered to move forward with growing our business. And the distinction that I want to make here is just because you feel productive doesn't mean you are productive. And just because you don't feel productive doesn't mean you aren't productive. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, sometimes you might accomplish even a small task and have such a powerful feeling of relief that it feels very productive, even though it was maybe only a small task. It could have been something that had been bothering you, maybe something that you'd been tolerating, something that had been on your desk for a while. And so that feels really productive. But if you were to evaluate it in the scale of things that will grow your business, like yesterday, what I did that was one of those was I actually deposited a check, which by the way wasn't very hard. All I had to do is get out my phone and take a picture of it, but it sat there for 3 weeks. And I thought, wow, I really got a lot done. Now, did I write my book? No. Did I do another video? No. Were there a lot of bigger things did I get a new client? No. I just deposited a check. But it made me feel really productive because I got it done. Now, the other hand, sometimes projects take a really long time, or things you're working on, or you don't feel like you're making progress on them, but that doesn't mean that you're not being productive. It just means that you haven't experienced the end result yet. So the first distinction we want to make is that Just because you feel productive doesn't mean you are productive, and just because you don't feel productive doesn't mean you aren't. The second thing that I want to talk about is that I want you to really watch and notice for yourself how much your feelings dictate how productive you're being. So some of us will look at a big pile of things to do and get discouraged and go scroll on Facebook for a while or do any number of other things that, again, may feel productive or unproductive, but not actually be bringing your business forward. So you want to be watching how your feelings will dictate how motivated you are to begin working. And sometimes you may want to take on projects that are a bit more exciting to you so that you can get the motor running so that you can get started. The last thing that I want to talk about, and I do realize I'm touching on these very big points in a very small way in a very short time, but that's the world we live in terms of our attention spans. The third thing that I want to talk about is I'm going to recommend to you that you stop managing or stop aspiring to manage your time and instead focus on managing your energy. So when you look at your list of things that you want to get done, don't frame them in terms of the amount of time that you have available to get them done, but rather frame them in the amount of energy you have to getting them done. And that's how all of these things come together, right? If you have feelings about not being productive, which will feed into not feeling motivated, which will then have you be discouraged when you think, oh, I have 60 hours of work to do this week, but only 30 hours in which to get them done, then your energy is going to decline. So if you can think about in terms of what are the projects or what are the tasks that you have that are going to be taking more of your energy, and what are the tasks that will be taking less of your energy, and how can you manage that energy? Because often, once you get going with something, like actually taking that picture of that check, the whole thing was 5 minutes, but it sat there for 3 weeks waiting for me to remember the app on my phone so that I could log in so that I could take it. So sometimes our mind in this state of overwhelm will blow out of proportion what it is that we have to do and how much energy it will take to do. So given these new perspectives about things, what I'm going to recommend that you do, especially during times of the year when you feel particularly overwhelmed, as I'm recording this, it's December, and that time of year, typically, we're adding on family obligations, we're adding on end of year activities, we're adding on all kinds of things, holiday cards, etc. So it can feel very overwhelming. So my recommendation is, number one, stop, notice how you're experiencing, notice that your feelings about how overwhelmed you are may or may not be accurate. And then you can look at, I like to list out all of the tasks that I say that I want to do and look to see how can you manage your energy around those tasks. Well, thank you so much for listening. I know this is a very small bit of time to spend on a very big topic, so I always invite you to reach out to me at any time. You can go to my website and set up a time to speak with me. You can also come on to our bi-weekly Entrepreneur Accelerator community call, which is a free online group coaching call. And we do that every other week. So I highly recommend that you join other entrepreneurs in this community of building our businesses together, and come on in and join, and let's support each other to do that. So thanks again for watching. Again, my name is Liz Wolfe. You can find me online, lizwolfecoaching.com. Thanks so much.